this is a good time to point this out, that if you're interested in evaluating candles, food, wine, whatever it may be, when using your nose and your palate, the best time to do that in the day is very early in the morning. It's after you had a great night of sleep. Your nose, your mouth will not be fatigued, your mind will be clear. After you've had breakfast, after you've had lunch, after you've experienced a certain amount of stress throughout the day, it's not a myth, it's really proven itself to be true that your evaluation levels do go down drastically throughout the day. So I recommend that if you're going out to purchase candles and using your nose, that you do it at earliest you can in the day. So next one on the table here, this one hits close to home for me. HONEYCRISP apple cider. Not HONEYCRISP apple cider, HONEYCRISP apple cider. On the label here, we can see what looks to be some form of whiskey apple cider based cocktail with a wedge of, I'm guessing, an HONEYCRISP apple. I grew up in apple country, and whenever I smell apples, it's always a very nostalgic experience. So here we go, Nostalgia City. That's lovely. That's just so lovely. But you know, I'm not picking up anything right off the bat other than just massive apple. It's more fresh than it is like heavily oxidized or fermented apple cider. And to be fair, this totally does smell like a HONEYCRISP apple. Even a McIntosh apple. Now, McIntosh apples grew around the orchards that I grew up in, so I'm very familiar with that smell. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you've ever had a McIntosh apple or smelled the skins specifically, they have a very fragrant, even floral smell, the skins, that is. I kind of get that here. But as far as the apple, like the meat of the apple is concerned, this smells like you sliced an apple open, or you took a bite out of an apple and then somebody called you and you're talking on your phone for 20 minutes and then you hang up and you go back to your apple and you pick it up and you're like, it's all brown and gross. Well, next time that happens, don't throw your apple away. Pick it up and smell that brown part, that oxidized part of the apple. It smells amazing. That's oxidation, right? That's why apple juice is golden. That's why apple cider is brown. This smells like oxidation to me, but only minimal oxidation. You know what? Okay. Oh man, this is really bringing back memories. Very nostalgic. When we were kids, we'd walk around the apple orchards, and the way it works in apple orchards, and it's probably the same for most fruits, and it's the same thing with vineyards too. The folks who pick the fruit, if there's any damage to the fruit, what they do is they call it dropping the fruit. They pick it and they drop it on the ground because they can't use it if there's a big bruise or crack in the skin. But when you would walk through the orchards on those cool autumn days, and the wind would just be tunneling through those rows of trees, it would pick up all of those aromatics off the orchard floor of those oxidized apples, those bruised, juicy apples off the ground. This smells like a bruised apple. And don't let that turn you off, because it's a lovely smell. You know, I want to leave it at apple, also picking up on some pear too. You know, your standard Bartlett pear. Bartlett, just like McIntosh, Bartlett has a little bit of that fragrant floral skin, but also a little bit of Asian pear too. Like I said, to be perfectly fair, HONEYCRISP authenticity all the way. My enthusiasm might not be showing on camera, but that's only because I'm in deep thought. This just might be my favorite apple-themed Yankee Candle of all time. And that's a bold statement, because if you know how much I love McIntosh, you know how big of a statement this is. This is seriously bringing me places, back in my mind, back in my own personal history. Very nice, very nice. And the wonderful, unforeseen production issues of filming in a hotel room, I have the maid next door running the vacuum, and she just stopped. Let's hope she doesn't start again. We got one more candle to go. So last but not least, Sunset Fields. Now, I did purposely save this one for last because I think this one is probably the most vague. I mean, if you look at the label, we see a lot of sunflowers, and Sunset Fields doesn't really tell us much at all, which is good, because that leaves a lot of open possibilities, imagination, creativity to this fragrance. I guess we would expect this to be floral, but who knows? Are you ready? 5 of 5, here it comes. There's a lot of stuff happening here, but this is going to be a very easy candle for me to break down, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So usually when I do these evaluations, I just spew out whatever comes to mind, but this is going to be one of those exceptions where I'm going to have to try to organize my thoughts and categorize my descriptors as much as possible. Otherwise, I'm going to completely lose myself and forget to mention a bunch of things. So let's start with florals. Lavender being the most prominent here. And I can't promise you that I'm also smelling peony, but it's along the same lines. It's funny because we see yellow, we see sunflower, and lavender being lavender or purple, and then peony being like magenta. How it just throws us off course. It's the last thing we want to think of because we're seeing this golden color. Green notes, oak moss, Thai basil, and there's some fruit notes here too. Citrus, again, citrus. Let's say blood orange. Most certainly peppercorn with perhaps other exotic spices. Again, those chai spices coming to mind. And you know, there's sweetness here. There's a sweetness, but it's a neutral sweetness. So let's say like agave nectar. All right, so now I have to dig deeper and start making aggressive observations. I can't get shy in this moment. I really have to go at it. I'm picking up on gray amber, or ambergris, if you've ever heard of this. It's a very, very popular ingredient used in the fragrance world. It's a substance found, or produced, I should say, in the digestive system of a sperm whale. That is just a horrible sentence, and as nasty as that sounds, it's actually a very earthy, sweet smell. Going off that earthy / nutty, I want to throw in chestnut, which, if you've never smelled a chestnut, kind of smells like a raw sweet potato. And I want to say patchouli. It's not an obvious patchouli, so don't be worried about it if you're not a patchouli person. And lastly, you know, we said woody, but cedar. I mean, that's just a given. I mean, you can't miss that. Trust me. So the two things that this reminds me of, the reason why it was really easy for me to break this down is that as soon as I smelled it, a trigger went off, a memory. When I was a kid, my parents used to buy Dial Gold bar soap. Do they still make Dial Gold bar soap? I don't know. If they do make it, right here, it smells very similar to this. That ambergris or gray amber note, that cedar mossiness, the blood orange. But the other thing that it reminds me of is Crisp Fall Night or Autumn Night by Yankee Candle. It's not going to be nearly as intense, and this is a little bit more softer, a little less aggressive and peppery and a little less floral and masculine, more clean and soapy. So there you go, folks. The 5 new fragrances for 2017 fall from Yankee Candle. But like I said, there is a 6th fragrance that they have yet to release. And it's my understanding that once the semi-annual sale is over in July, that's when you're gonna see this other 6th candle in stores. And this is going to be retail exclusive, meaning you're not gonna find this at Bed Bath & Beyond. You're not gonna find it at any other locations where they sell Yankee Candle products. This will be a website and Yankee Candle retail exclusive. And that candle is going to be entitled Dazzling Red Maple. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for that. Honestly, they had to save the one that I probably was anticipating the most. They had to save that one for a later date. But either way, I am very excited about this collection. As a whole, this is not a very New England-esque fall collection, if you ask me. You know, it's stepping outside of the boundaries of Yankee Candle a little bit, something that we've been seeing in the past, you know, year, 2 years or so. They're going a little bit more for that luxury look, but with that said, you can't complain about these aromas. These fragrances are on point, if you know, in my opinion, that is. And I definitely recommend you go into Yankee Candle, smell them for yourself, and come back here, share your opinion in the comments section below. Share your thoughts, your opinions. You know, which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? What was your overall opinion of the collection? As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. I always say thank you, but it really does mean so much to me that you guys are so present when it comes to the comments and watching the videos, and even now with the live videos, it means the world to me. I do want to say, make sure if you like the video, only if you like the video, you give it a thumbs up, and if you've stumbled across this video, make sure you hit subscribe. Trust me, the more subscribers we have, the bigger this circle of candle enthusiasts gets, the higher the value of these shows are going to become. Trust me. Let's see if we could spiral out, keep growing. And speaking of that, in the description box below, there's going to be a link to Patreon, my Patreon account. Whether you know what Patreon is or you don't, click the link if you're interested. It'll help show you how you can help out this channel. It'll break down all the information for you if you choose to do that. It's been launched for quite some time. I've just never promoted it. So check that out if you're interested, but the biggest way you can support this channel is by showing up and viewing the videos. So with that said, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys real soon. And I thought I would show you a little bit of a behind the scenes, if you will. Check it out. I have my Apple TV, slightly dusty right here, so that I can play this nice scenic fall landscape to get me into the mood. I've just been sitting here drinking my coffee, trying to imagine, trying to put myself in the state of mind of not only it being autumn, but actually being in the location that we're looking at right here. So don't ever say you can't film on a budget, because I'm essentially using every lighting fixture in this room to benefit my setup here. Even this, down to this dollar store windshield reflector. And I got my cell phone right here that's gonna act as my secondary camera, my coffee right there, all my candles. My primary camera is going to be set right here on a tripod with my microphone, a little additional lighting back there. And of course we got Santa Claus. You know, this guy just, he has to show up in everything I make. I can't control him. But the thing is, look at that window. Gloom for days. May has just not shown us the sun, at least here in the Northeast. But I'm trying to press on and make the best out of the situation. So I'm going to sit down, get to this review, and I will see you folks on the other side.